What happened to the Vikings? Because we already know, talk about us, not the Lions. People should be talking about us, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, the Lions just went out there and did work, and people talk about the Lions because they do work.
Yeah.
Look, people are ready to spit the Lions out of their mouth, and they still can't do it. Because the Lions just keep winning.
They're not
allowing people to.
I know it's hard to adjust, but this is for real. Like I said, this is real life right now.
This is real life, but you've been effectively our NFL correspondent on the show. Shout out to our brother Flannel Sam as well.
Yep.
But you've been our NFL correspondent, our playoff correspondent. The Rams, the Vikings, 27-9, man. The Rams spanked the Vikings. Sam Darnold turned into that pumpkin against the Lions. The high-def stuff predicted, and he has not returned into a man.
No, that's a fact. and the Rams had as many sacks as the Vikings had points. 9, count them. 9 sacks on Sam Darnold.
Honolulu flu is real.
Yeah, he was on his back the whole night. Not much else they could do. But this is, he a $2 hook. It's all good. But this is what we were saying after they played the Lions. This is what we were saying after they played the Lions. Like, they are too dependent on putting the ball in the air. I mean, Aaron Jones is literally just not the same player that he once was. And since you have no run game, you're so dependent on getting the ball to Justin Jefferson, getting the ball to TJ Hockenson, getting the ball to Jordan Addison, that when teams can game plan and scheme for that, it's over, and that's what you effectively saw. Sean McVay, they took the Lions playbook and applied it to this game, and you got the same exact result. And Sam Darnold is just not that guy in big moments. We have to admit it.
And when you look at how the Rams won this game, it's what makes it even more embarrassing. They didn't go out there and just house them. You look at the stats, and everything is just pedestrian. It just shows you just how bad the Vikings are, man.
Yeah.
Where are those fans at? But when I look at the stats, Matthew Stafford, 19 of 27, 209 yards, 7.7 average, 2 touchdowns. Just did his thing.
He did his thing.
Nothing out this world. Even from the running game, they rushed for 90 yards total. Kyron Williams only had 76, man. Matthew Stafford got, I think Matthew Stafford got sacked a couple times.
He did.
But the receivers, man. Tyler Higbee led them in receiving with 58 yards.
That's crazy.
Puka Nacua had 44. Cooper Kupp had 29, man.
What has happened to Cooper Kupp? Man, I don't know what's going on.
He hasn't, the Vikings.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same since that injury, but I still wouldn't sleep on Cooper Kupp. He's really good in the slot.
But now we got to talk about these Commanders because now they're the latest team asking for Detroit. Everybody got Detroit in their mouth. Everybody calling us out, and I don't even understand what we did. Yeah. All we did was went and got it out the mud the way they say the American dream is supposed to have gotten.
Hey, but when you at the top, it's always a target on your back.
That's true.
We got to learn to live with that now.
The race does not end when you feel like you've gotten the crown. That's when it really begins because you got to watch your back now.
Yep.
And that's the thing that I love about this Lions team in terms of what Dan Campbell always preaches. Bro, we are on your porch. And if we get into a tussle, this is the one thing that people have to understand that I believe people are underestimating here with this matchup. If we get into a tussle, we are going to drag you out to that deep, dark abyss.
Yeah.
I do expect it to be that. People get so upset about how the Detroit Lions play their physical and aggressive style of defense, but that to me is the best component or the best kind of just symbology of it. They're going to beat you up all game long, and then by the end of the game, you got the other team just looking a little less efficient. You have the other team not hitting their marks. You got the quarterback selling passes. We saw this with Sam Darnold. We've seen this with Kyler Murray earlier in the season. We saw this with Geno Smith. We've seen them do this to quarterbacks that got a little bit of wiggle this season, and I do believe that the Commanders fans, hey, bless y'all hearts. Bless y'all hearts, man. I know that y'all are happy to be here. I know that y'all do believe in your team, despite knowing the Lions are definitely going to be one of your biggest challenges of the season, man. But this is something completely different.
Yeah,
Neil said it best yesterday.
They're not ready, man. And unfortunately for the Commanders, maybe if this matchup was, 3 to 4 years down the line, the Lions got a couple Super Bowls in their back pocket, and we are just a team that's been at the top for a while, maybe I'd be a little more concerned about this type of matchup because the Washington Commanders will come in young, hungry, ready to win. But unfortunately, you in the middle of our story right now. And for the Lions, this is a team that is absolutely hungry. They got the taste in their mouth from that NFC Championship game last year, and they are going full speed speed ahead to the Super Bowl, and nothing is going to stop this team. I'm just convinced. Nothing is going to slow this team down on that path, especially not a team at this stage like the Washington Commanders. There's a lot to like about the Commanders. I mean, you got to give it up. This was supposed to be a top of the draft team, and they turned that and flipped that into a first-round playoff victory with the rookie quarterback that looks like he's going to be here to stay for quite a long time. And you got to just give them credit for that. But at the same time, this Lions team is experienced. We've been in the trenches before, and we faced tougher opponents that came out on the other side of it. Not to say that they aren't a good team, but they're just not ready for the type of physicality and just on-field performance that the Lions are going to bring to them Sunday or Saturday.
Hey, Chase, I see you in there, man. Looks like you're just in there bottling up some energy, but just talk to me about this. People have been asking for the Lions. It didn't work out so well for the Vikings. They wanted the attention. They didn't think people should be talking about the Lions. They felt they were better. And now all of a sudden we heard what the Packers are doing. Xavier McKinney. How did that work out for them? We know how the NFC North, how they felt. Now we got another division. The Commanders. They are asking for the Lions, man. Talk to me about this.
I mean, they're asking for it. I mean, you can ask for it, but be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. I mean, this team has proven all year, despite what they've had to deal with, injuries, personnel, like getting booted out of games, like Brian Branch, against the Packers in Lambeau. Like, doesn't matter what you throw at them. They can go down 16-0 at the half, throwing 5 interceptions in a game, but they're still going to fight back. They're still going to find a way to win. So, you can say you want Detroit, but I don't know why on earth you'd have any type of confidence that you're going to come in here and be nothing more than some more food for these Lions.
Listen, I'm not mad at that logic at all.
No,
and
I'm not.
For all the things that Jaden Daniels does well and his team does well, the Lions match up really, really well against them in terms of what their strengths are. We all know that Jaden Daniels can be inefficient at times. He can do the heroics and all that, but with a Lions team coming in this physical that can just wear you down quarter after quarter, I just don't know how that's going to fare. Even if they were to get a lead, no lead is safe when the Lions are, on your tail, man. The Lions are going to come after you down after down after down until they get back. And, this is a bottom of the NFL ranked rush defense. And we all know what the Lions make their money off of. So I think you take that into account. And you got to give them credit. They are a top 3 pass defense. But if your rush defense is so bad and we get to killing you there, you already know what that opens up for the Lions offense. It's that play action.
Because we are going to talk about Monty's return, and you know what? There was a good question raised on the heavies last night. Shout out to Spinny, shout out to Easy, shout out to Platty, and get well soon, Nick, as well.
Yeah.
And that question was, what do you do when Monty does get back? What is your strategy? And I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I do want to talk about it because this is one of those our strength versus one of their weaknesses. And so I do want to kind of just talk about that a little bit today. But I want to be able to discuss a little bit more in the next segment the Jaden Daniels effect. This guy is special.
Yeah.
As a rookie, he put up some special yards, and those rushing yards are nothing to sneeze at. So I want to be able to talk about the strategy there, our defense versus Jaden Daniels in the next segment. So let's say what up, though, to some friends. I think I got to tell the people about Lady Jane's.
You do? Would you want to read off the super chat real quick?
Hey, read it off for me, brother.
Oh, I got you.
You got this back wall cooking up,
too.
Yeah, it's
got
fire,
that back
bro.
wall right there. Shout out LJ Holmes, 1999 super chat. Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin will be representing Lansing on Saturday because it's going to be a 5 to 17 connection all day. What do you guys think?
Hey, read that one more time.
I got you. It said Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin will be representing Lansing on Saturday because it's going to be a 5 to 17 connection all day.
Okay.
For those who don't know, 517 is the area code for South
yeah.
Central Michigan, like the Lansing, Jackson area.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. You know what, though? We've seen this recipe, and the Lions still have gone out there and done work. We've seen wide receivers go out there and put up big games. We've seen quarterbacks go out there and put up big yards. It still didn't matter to the outcome of the game. And that's where when Dan Campbell says things like, hey, listen, we just want to win a game.
Yeah.
Hey, he even said it like, listen, our focus right now is this one game. Not Super Bowl. It's this game. And we're putting all of our focus into that. Do y'all know who this Lions team is? Do you know who Dan Campbell is? He's saying this. That's energy that's focused like a laser.
Yeah.
Everybody should be concerned because they continue to go out there and exceed expectation. Remember how confident people were that they were going to lose, that their defense was just too banged up. How disrespectful to DJ Reader and to Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like, Alexander only comes back. How disrespectful to that secondary as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, guys. I'm not going to forget that we have 4 first-team All-Pros, 2 second-team, a couple more that probably should have made it. Guys like Ife Melifonwu who possess the talent as such. Guys like Alexander Zaloni, who, if he played the full year, how you keeping him off?
Right.
Or we'd be sitting there talking about how much of a snub he is. So that's what I'm saying. And Jack Campbell. I can just go down the list.
Hey, with y'all, it's too early for this shit, man. I peeped the music too, Chase. I peeped you.
Hey, waking up to the mix.
I was
on
vibing,
Woodward.
bro. That was a Kool-Aid track too, so I was like, "Oh, I know this one."
Come on,
I
get
bet you
into
do. They're nasty Kool-Aid over
Some
here.
of
It's
these
cold,
tracks-
KG. Get in that Bill Withers bag. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm trying, man.
Hey, look, some of them tracks. That was one of the ones, after me and Queen Kool-Aid, just
Oh,
vibing
yeah.
in the morning.
Oh, boy.
And I go downstairs and I make a beat.
Here we go.
This is the morning after song.
Double beat.
Oh my god.
Scratch that.
Morning after
The
song.
morning after song.
That's crazy.
The morning after song. Hey,
Was she cooking the eggs? The eggs and the bacon? Oh man. So sports.
Sports.
Yeah, back to sports, everybody.
Hey, you know what? We got to talk about one, Jaden Daniels. This was a quarterback, a player that I believed was going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And all of us believe, you know what? He's going to have a good shot to do that.
Yeah.
He's elevated the Commanders to a level beyond what I believe any of us in here believe they could be, including Chase. And I see you, Chase. And you know what? They found themselves now moving on after an upset in the playoffs. And now they have the vaunted Detroit Lions. They believe they have this chance, really, because of how special Jaden Daniels has shown himself to be. And just to read off those stats on the year, 3,568 passing yards, places him 16th in the league, 25 touchdowns, tied for 10th, 9 interceptions, tied, and then a QBR of 70.5. And then obviously when you talk about him, you got to talk about the rushing yards as well, which is where things get very, very, very special for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And for me, to you, when you look at his last playoff game, because I want to be able to call that out, right? When you look at this playoff game against the Bucs, in which I didn't necessarily see that happen. I thought Baker Magic was going to be able to pull that game out. I thought they were going to win pretty much comfortably, but instead it was the Commanders because of Jaden Daniels' magic being able to get this thing done. But you're looking at 24 for 35, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, man. He's pretty efficient in that game. Rushing wise, 13 carries, 36 yards, 2.8 yards a carry, and his long was 8 yards.
Yeah.
You know, how fearful should the Lions be of Jaden Daniels? We keep hearing this vaunted kind of running quarterback is the kryptonite to an Aaron Glenn defense.
Yeah.
But how worried should we be right now?
Do you have to take him seriously? Yes. Should you be scared? Absolutely not. And I've said this multiple times on the network. The Lions only have trouble when they face mobile quarterbacks that can run as good as they throw.
He has 891 rushing yards on the season.
No, and I do understand that, but at the same time, this is somebody that's still relatively inexperienced in terms of the the NFL landscape, and he runs more at the rate he runs now because he is so young. When plays break down, that's just his first instinct is to get out of the pocket and try to make something happen. And he's been pretty good at that. You got to give him credit. But overall, I'm not necessarily worried. We've seen this before. We faced a Kyler Murray, and that's kind of what he reminds me of. He's a little bit better, skill-wise, but we were able to shut Kyler Murray down without too much of an issue. The only real mobile quarterback that has given us trouble is a Josh Allen, and that's because he is proven to be so dynamic, running, out of the pocket, still being able to throw, and even killing you with his legs. So I'm not necessarily worried. If they get into a situation where, they go down early or whatever, I expect him to get out of the pocket and make some plays, but he won't be able to win the game that way, especially with an experienced Lions defense that are going to be keyed in, and you got Alex Anzo back. He's one of the best at being able to cover running quarterback. So I'm not worried at all. Like I said, you have to take it serious, but should you be scared? Absolutely not.
I see Greg also in the chat. He says KG facts, and I'm seeing a lot of our regulars: Mike G, Xavier D, Crazy Clown, Paul Thomas. We'll continue to shout you guys out, Mike G and others too, and Hutch. Freddie fell through and 3 said, "Quiet, quiet storm," whispering.
Hey.
$2 super chat, man. Shout out,
We appreciate
shout out
y'all
to the Quiet
listening out
Storm,
there.
and we appreciate you guys tapping in as well. Alex Anzalone, that's the one for me. When we talked all season about the different reinforcements that were coming back in terms of players that were already here, like obviously Zadarius Smith being traded for, great acquisition. But in terms of players that got injured that were already here, we a couple times said, "Yay, we got the reserves on the way." And
Right.
we were just like on the after show, we were like, "Well, good thing we won because the reserves wasn't really all that hot." But when Alex Anzalone stepped out there on the field, it was an instant difference. Instant difference. It was like, whoa, where's this been all my last several weeks? And it was what Dan Campbell said that made it really, really stick as well. Like, yo, and the other players, he is the quarterback of that defense, and that cannot be understated. As much importance as we place on Jared Goff, now we understand why this organization has been so bullish and so committed to Alex Anzalone. Even in the beginning, when it didn't look as promising as the fulfillment has been today, they believed in what he can be. And when you saw him come back, arm not even healed up all the way, and he talked about it, the end-to-end speed was something that you saw instantly. And his decision-making, his ability to say, even if the play is for him to rush in, if he gets the inkling that, you know what, I think it could be a play action, and I need to watch the tight end leaking out. We've seen him go and make the right decision.
Yep.
And that's what I like about Alex Anzalone. He just knows how to play football. When we talk about our ball knowers in here, like when I talk about you, when I look at Alex Anzalone, he's just a flat out ball knower. He's going to be a future coach, in my opinion.
No, I can definitely see that. You know, how disciplined he is, how he can go out there and just do his job, man. And you know, Alex Anzalone on a broken arm, not even fully healed, he went out there and still led this team in tackles. So, like you said, the sideline speed is going to be key. The fact that he can get people on the ground is going to be key, because if Jaden Daniels burns you, you don't want him to burn you for X amount of yards. So you absolutely need that. And then I'm also looking at Jack Campbell, somebody who was sharpened while Alex Anzalone was gone. And, you know, if you can get him to, you know, not necessarily be the quarterback of the defense, but play that secondary role, I think he'll do a great job, because the Washington Commanders, besides Jaden Daniels, they don't run the football very well. I mean, you got Brian Robinson Jr. back there. I think they just got Austin Eckler back from injury, and he hasn't really looked like himself. So if you can stop that run game, they are going to be a one-dimensional team, and Jaden Daniels' arm isn't developed enough to where I'm worried about that.
Yeah, exactly. When I talk about how Josh Allen, he played a perfect game, can Jaden Daniels be that? You can see flashes of it, but he's not Josh Allen, and that's where the difference is. It took all of that. One mistake, even if people want to say 6-point game wasn't really close, one mistake by Josh Allen in that game is the Lions. Period. Just one mistake. Think about that.
Yeah.
And so when you think about what the Lions have been able to do at forcing quarterbacks, even good quarterbacks, into making mistakes, I do believe that one or two mistakes in this game will cost the Commanders a lot. And we've seen that the Lions take that and turn it into a drubbing, an avalanche, a blowout. And so I expect them to be able to get after it and to mix up into disguise those pressures. But one player in particular, Ife Melifonwu, Ifeatu Melifonwu, to be more appropriate to his name. And shout out to his agent, Sean Stiletto. Hey, you know, what do you do with him? Because I know that the tantalizing thing is to bring the pressure off the edge. But do you think that there is a little bit more to maybe dropping him in coverage and stunting a little bit more with those linebackers like they did against the Vikings?
No. I think you want to keep the pressure on Jaden Daniels and force him to make decisions that he wouldn't want to make. You know, especially with the heat on his ass. And two people that you got to worry about in this Commanders offense, it is Zach Ertz and it's Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin, hey, shout out to you. I have drafted you in fantasy about 3 or 4 times over the years, and you have performed every single fucking time. So I got to give, you know, Terry his love. But if you can effectively limit what he does, and you know, you put Anzo on Zach Ertz, somebody who is a good tight end, but he's kind of up there in age, a little bit long in the tooth, not very agile, then I think that you have a recipe for success. And if you look at kind of what the Lions did against the Vikings, you were able to effectively take out a Justin Jefferson, a Jordan Addison, and a TJ Hockenson all in the same game. So when I look at this receiving core, it's not nearly as formidable as what the Vikings even offered. So I think if you can limit what Terry McLaurin can do to you, I think the Lions are in good position to win this game, and you can do that by sending Iffy on those type of blitzes, providing that extra pressure, because they need to manufacture a pass rush. We have to be real about it. You can't just allow Jaden Daniels to stand back there for 5 to 6 seconds and kill you.
Yeah, and I think we got a couple super chats there. While JB gets those prepared, I think we got one from .10151 and one from Crayons for Breakfast. If you can get those prepared and read those off in just a little bit, but I want to make sure we're giving a little time to digest what KG just stated, because you're spitting knowledge right now.
Yeah.
KG is one of our ball knowers here. There's a lot of people that spit football very, very well at this network, and KG is one of the ones that does that for us during this morning show. And you know what, when you talk about the differences in between who the Commanders are versus when I talk about the Bills, those are the subtle differences. The wide receiver core is not necessarily the same when you talk about if they had to match it with the Rams. That's a situation where you are concerned about the arm talent of a Matthew Stafford, the moxie,
right?
His ability to play in late games and big pressure situations. He has a Super Bowl experience, and then he has the receiving core and the running backs around him. And I still would pick the Lions in that matchup too. But against the Commanders is where I do believe some of their lack of experience and some of their not knowing what they're about to walk into. Some people say, oh, they're playing with house money. That doesn't always help you.
No.
That doesn't. Like I tell you, there were some areas in the DMV that I didn't know where I was at and didn't know I was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And it could have been really, really bad.
Yeah,
and
that's a
this
fact.
is where I think in reverse now. This is the antithesis of that moment. All these years later, I had to have my experience so that now the Commanders are going to have their experience. And that's just the thing. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
But understand, BTA is not just a word. The Lions have taken these marketing schemes and words, and it's just been real life. Grit. It's real now.
Yeah.
BTA, it's a real thing. So just be prepared. If you haven't gotten a spanking in a while, just be prepared.
No, that's real. And sometimes it's just the little things. Like we talked about Sam Darnold. He's not used to being in these type of game situations. So what did he do? He shit the bed. Jaden Daniels, for as talented as he is, you have not been in a playoff Ford Field atmosphere. And that's where, the Lions fans come into play. Y'all got to make it real hard on this young guy coming in here. He don't really know what he's walking into. Walking into this rabid Lions fan base, Ford Field, prime time, and you got to go in here and you got to make plays against the noise. And this Lions defense is going to be tough, man. And I think AG will absolutely have these guys ready to go.
Chase, I'm going to come right back to you after these super chats. I need you to get the fans fired up. I need the PSA. I need the promo.
Cavassier
Make
Chase.
sure they know that Ford Field needs to break the decibel record. So get ready. I need that Cavassier Chase energy, that spicy chase. But JB Smooth, we got some super chats, huh?
Oh yeah, we got some super chats.
Shout out
Trying
to
to
the
throw
back
these
wall,
out
man.
up on
You
the
are
back
cooking.
wall as well too. $5 from Crayons for Breakfast. Curious to see if Jack keeps that green dot again like last week. You could tell it let Enzo run free and ball out. 2 QBs on defense. Jaden is mid. And then you also got Dante151 as well too, sending in this super chat. $4.99.
Shout out both of
Can
them.
we stop with the narrative with the Lions have problems with running quarterbacks? Everyone has problems with running quarterbacks. Let it go.
That's a fact, and I really like that, Dante. And to kind of answer what Crans for Breakfast said, I think that Anzo's gonna get that green dot back. And I did like the fact that they let Jack Campbell handle it because he earned that, and you also wanted to give Anzo time to ease back into the game plan. Seeing that he didn't play for all those amount of weeks, but Anzo is your best linebacker. He is the most, IQ, the biggest IQ linebacker that you have. So in the playoffs, this type of situation, I think he gets that green dot back.
Hey, you know what? And that to me, it's a good problem to have.
No,
it's
absolutely.
almost like first world problems to have.
Yeah.
When people start talking about all the injuries we have, yes, they are great injuries. But you do yourselves a disservice and you are disrespecting all pro level players and players who are taking those next steps to be really Pro Bowl caliber players. You're disrespecting those guys. Jack Campbell took a really, really, really big step forward, man.
Yeah.
Alex Anzalone is back. Ife Melifonwu is back. And you got to think about this. Players like Zadarius Smith. Think about DJ Reader and what these couple weeks off have meant for them.
Yeah.
To get their bodies right for this next game. Mm-hmm. That to me means the world. And I know that we're not talking about it today, but mind you, put it on your calendars. We're going to talk about JMO either tomorrow or Thursday. I believe that Jameson Williams has an opportunity to show out.
He
against
really
Commanders
does.
Talking about my godson?
I mean, all the noise right now is about not being able to stop the run, right?
Yeah.
Play action is going to F them up, bro.
No, I'm telling you. And I gave you the stat. The Commanders are third in the league in terms of regular season being a third-ranked pass defense. But when your rush defense is so bad and you're going against a Lions team that literally lives off the play action, it could spell trouble for those corners, man. Because eventually you got to try and stop those running backs, man. You're going to have Monty back. You know what Gibbs can do. So you have to respect that. You're going to have to, cheat some of your safeties and corners up. And when you do, you have the potential to get burned with an Amon-Ra St. Brown and a Jameson Williams, man. So make no mistake. They got a long day ahead of them.
Jameer Gibbs or David Montgomery out the backfield.
Yeah.
How do you want it? Tim Patrick? How do you want it? Like,
How do you
let me know.
want it?
Hey, top of the game, too loud in the deep.